Hi. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome to Two Chicks. All right. So, hi. Welcome. We're laughing because we've just done about 15 minutes of our show before we realized that we were not actually broadcasting. So welcome. And I'm apologizing for being late because we thought we were on. So, Sarah, you want to start that all over again?
All right, strike that, reverse it. We're going back. Okay, so
welcome
to
to Princess Bride. This is like a do-over. We just did take one.
Take one.
Take one. Now this is scene two.
Scene two.
Or
Okay.
take two. Scene one.
The Princess Bride came out in 1987, directed by Rob Reiner, son of Carl Reiner. Big director and producer. Did Spinal Tap movie.
Yep.
Did Stand By Me.
Yep.
Did a lot of those documentaries that like.
We just got a like.
Woohoo! Oh, Mr. Amen, of course.
Thanks, John.
He's our #1 fan.
He is.
It has a huge cast. Carrie Elwes, I think is how you pronounce his last name.
Elwes?
Elwes? I don't know. It's Welsh.
I don't know.
But he's very, very dreamy back in the day.
That Carrie dude.
I had a huge crush on him back in the day, so I thought he was cute. Robin Wright. Oh my God, I can't talk.
Who became Robin Wright Penn after a while.
And then now it's just Robin Wright again.
Yeah.
And then Mandy Patinkin of theater and TV fame.
Should we go through the whole thing?
No, we're not doing that again. Chris Sarandon, who is Susan Sarandon's brother.
Creepy brother.
Wallace Shawn of also TV, and I think he was in theater too and movies. Like he's kind of one of those like, hey, I know him. Where do I know him from? And he's got a very iconic voice too. Yep. Like you know, he was the Toy Story. He was the dinosaur.
Yes.
He's the dinosaur. So. little scary dinosaur.
Oh, here, foreshadowing. Toy Story will make its mark again on this show sometime during the mid to whatever. Yeah. Watch for it.
Watch for it. Andre the Giant of wrestling. WWE wrestling fame, who passed away shortly after this movie was made, actually. Yeah. Christopher Guest, a Rob Reiner favorite. He's been in a lot of Rob Reiner's movies. He does a lot of who's also in Spinal Tap, Best in Show. Oh my gosh, he's in like so many of those mockumentary kind of movies.
Mockumentary.
Yeah. Billy Crystal, big name. Carol Kane, who is my favorite. I adore her. She was in Scrooge.
Yep. She was the fairy.
Yes.
Who busted Bill Murray with a toaster.
Fred Savage of Wonder Years fame. And Peter Falk, who is Columbo.
That's just fun to say.
Columbo. This is also based off a book by William Goldman. Goldberg. Goldman? No, whatever. Who also wrote the screenplay. The book is, I've actually read the book.
Did you really?
Yeah, I read the short version. I did not read the big unabridged version. Because it was it's too long and he's so descriptive and it's just like a chapter based just on scenery alone. So
speaking of Mailwedge, if you have a favorite quote from the movie Princess Bride while you're watching, go ahead and feel free to add that in the comments. There are so many good ones.
Yeah. Inconceivable.
How
many comments. Sorry,
it's like deja vu.
It's like parodying ourselves right here. It had a $60 million budget. It made only just slightly over or slightly under 31 million, so it didn't really make back its budget, but it became more of a critically acclaimed, more of like a fan favorite cult classic movie than it did more of a budget made blockbuster movie.
Yep.
So
to me that's inconceivable because for all everybody, I don't know anybody who doesn't know that movie.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, you know some of the quotes just because it's it's so iconic movie.
It's on Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies. It's number 50.
Yes, it's on AFI, which is the American Film Institute's 88 on top greatest love story movies.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, it was actually added to the National Film Registration as a culturally and historically significant movie. So that's
Culturally and historically
significant movie. Yeah.
Say that 10 times.
I know,
fast.
right? You can't. And I picked this movie because it literally was like my childhood watching this movie. It's like between that and some other movies, this is a movie that was always on in our house.
And because it was your turn.
It was my turn. Every time it came on, my dad would be like, "Sarah, your movie's on." I'm like, "Which one?" He's like, "The one with the prince and the princess." I was like, "Oh, okay."
That could be any number of Disney movies.
But it's kind of like a family favorite. Like almost all of us could quote it in my family, except maybe my mom. But yeah.
So you ran down some of the cast. Who do they all have? Who are we missing? Anybody?
I don't think so.
Nope, we got everybody.
At least the big names. There might be some smaller ones that I might have missed.
Rob Reiner was also married to Penny Marshall, by the way.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Mm-hmm. Rest. Bless her soul. And Rob Reiner, by the way, we talked about how he got his start in television.
Yes.
He was Michael Stivic on All in the Family, which was the Archie Bunker. Now that's taking back. That was my childhood that we watched that. And Archie Bunker always referred to him as Meathead. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. So that's kind of like the basic trivia or a rundown of the movie. So the movie, if you haven't seen it, which, I mean, it's been over 30 years, people, come on. Basically, the movie is about this girl, Buttercup, who falls in love with Wesley, who's just a poor farm boy. And before they can get married, he goes to try to get
he wants to earn money because he doesn't want to always be poor.
Yeah, he's trying to better himself for her. She finds out that his ship was overtaken by the dreaded pirate Roberts, and he never leaves anybody alive. So she comes to realize Wesley might not be alive anymore.
She's quite sure he's dead.
Yes, and then the local prince, Humperdinck, decides that he wants her for himself. So they get married, and then she is kidnapped by Vinzini and Fezzik and his goon squad to start a war, actually. So then she's kidnapped again by the man in the black mask, who turns out is Wesley, who's alive all along.
Double kidnapped.
Yep. So they try to run away together, but then they were caught by the prince, and hilarious ensues and just iconic scenes. And
it's got a little bit of everything.
True love, fight scenes, sword scenes, revenge,
giant animals, a giant.
Yes, a giant. Which is why I think I like this movie, because it does have everything. Like, everybody can enjoy it. You know, kids can like it, adults like it, men, women. It's pretty good movie for
and men in masks.
Men in masks cannot be trusted.
That's right. You know, men in masks cannot be trusted.
So a couple of fun little facts. So Christopher Guest, who plays the six-fingered man,
Count Rugen.
Rugen. Six-fingered man.
What's the line? Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepared to die.
So when there's a scene when they're coming out of the fire swamp where he hits Wesley over the head after Buttercup is taken away, he actually hit Carrie Elwell's in the head.
Oh no!
Really hard, to where Carrie had to be in the hospital overnight because he got a concussion.
Oh my goodness, a subcutaneous hematoma.
Because Rob was like, just hit him as hard as you can, but he didn't realize how hard he was hitting him and hit him right in the back of the head.
He did it on purpose.
Then Rob Reiner does the voices for the RUSs.
Okay.
The rats.
Why?
Why
did he do the voices?
I can't remember.
Was it because they erased them from the soundtrack or something?
No, he originally did them, but then he lost his voice doing it, and then they found out that the sound guy didn't record it.
Oh no!
So he had to do it again.
Oh. Okay, because I knew you told me a story about it, but I couldn't remember what the story was. The music was by Mark Knopfler, by the way.
Yes, of
Dire Straits. Mark Knopfler, and he had certain stipulations that he needed to have met in order to be in it. was it 2 or 3 things?
Two.
2 things?
He wanted to be paid.
He wanted to get paid. And the other thing was he wanted the hat that Rob Reiner wore for This Is Spinal Tap to appear somewhere in the film. And it ended up doing that in
The kid's bedroom.
the kid's bedroom.
The
Yes, the grandson's bedroom.
Yeah.
So he was able to do that. Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits, who we all know from Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free. He also worked with Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton, Emmylou Harris, and Sting, to name a few. He's
Just a few.
pretty talented musician, guitarist.
Apparently the weather got kind of cold on set, so Andre put his hand over Robin's head to keep her warm, because that's how big his hands were.
Oh, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
I heard that Andre the Giant was
Very
a lot
sweet.
of fun.
Yeah. Well, at my dinner with my friend Andre is based on.
Oh.
Yeah.
He had that megala something, whatever,
Yeah.
giant
Yeah, he was like
disease.
over 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Mandy Patinkin said this is one of his favorite roles he's ever done, and
Okay.
considering all the roles he has done,
It's probably the one he's most known for.
yes, yeah, and playing Che and Vita with Head and Pump. Head and Pump. Sorry, theater geek here.
I was going to say, for the
Theater geek.
non-musical people.
Both you and I found this interesting that Arnold Schwarzenegger originally wanted to play Fezzik when this was in development back in the 70s, actually. William Goldman, whatever, was trying to get this developed since the 70s.
Yep.
And by the time it got through production, Arnold became such a wide-known actor that he couldn't afford him anymore. And William Goldman actually wanted Andre the Giant originally. He always pictured Andre to play this part. And then Andre couldn't do it in the 70s because he was busy doing the wrestling career. So in the 80s, when his wrestling career was kind of over with because of all his back injuries, he got to play Fezzik.
Speaking of Andre the Giant and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they actually spent some time together off screen. And one of the stories I found about the two of them was that Andre the Giant was a very charitable man, and he always wanted to pay for meals. And when he and Arnold were out for dinner one night, Arnold tried to sneak over to the cashier to pay for his meal before Andre got to it. And as he was at the cashier, all of a sudden he got lifted up and carried back to the table. Andre picked him up and moved him back so that he could go ahead and take care of the check. Can you imagine Andre the Giant picking up Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I would love to see that.
I would, yeah, to be a fly on the wall.
Cool. So, because Billy Crystal is in this movie, and everybody knows Billy's super funny and just ad-libs, like the entire scene with him and Carol when you first meet them, it's pretty much ad-lib. Rob just let Billy go. He actually had to leave set, Rob Reiner had to leave the set because he was laughing so hard during that scene that he didn't want to mess it up. He kept doing different takes because he was laughing so hard. And he finally just had to leave the set because he's like, I cannot.
I still think the Oscars really lost a good host
I know.
when they left Billy Crystal go.
Hopefully he comes back. The Dread Pirate Roberts actually is based off of Black Bart, who was a real pirate back in the 18th century.
Black Bart.
Bart, yeah. It's based on Black Bart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that the same person that the little kid in Toy Story, or not Toy Story, but in A Christmas Story, he's trying to shoot with his gun when he goes out?
I think so.
Okay.
Anyway, I haven't seen them.
He almost shot his eye out, by the way.
So I found this interesting is that both Carrie and Mandy really were sword fighting.
Okay.
During that scene where there's fighting back and forth on top of the cliffs of insanity. They studied with
summer home.
Bob Anderson, who's a huge fencing pro. He did for Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Star Wars was his big one. So any of the fight scenes in Star Wars, Bob Anderson was the one who choreographed that. And the actual, when they're saying the moves in the movie, those are actually real moves that you can do in fencing.
Oh, but what he did not know is that I am left-handed.
Yes. They basically, the only scene they had to use a double for is when Mandy did the bar scene where he did the flip. That's the only scene that they said
where his sword came down first and then he came down.
Yeah.
That's funny.
are my notes.
Those are your notes?
Those are my notes. There's probably tons more trivia and more, but those were kind of ones that I wanted to point out that probably most people didn't really know about.
Oh, those are my notes too. So, let's talk about favorite scenes.
Oh my gosh.
There's a ton. I'm sure everybody's got their favorites.
Oh, I can't even think of my favorite scene because they're all so good.
I know. I think one of the things that we talk about, or what comes up very often, are the rhyming scenes when they're on the boat.
Hey, Stu, are there rocks ahead?
If there are, we'll surely be dead. And then, no more rhymes now. I mean it.
Does anybody want a peanut?
I know. It's so clever. And then all throughout the movie, there are such great liners, even the when he's trying to climb up the cliff.
Yes, that whole dialogue between those two.
I know.
It's like
I give you my word as a Spaniard.
No good.
No too many Spaniards. Yes.
I hate waiting.
Yeah, or when Fezzik the giant is battling with the man in the mask, and they're talking about
why you wear a mask.
Are you disfigured or burned horribly by acid, or
I just find them terribly comfortable. I think everybody will be wearing masks in the future.
Or where he talks about how I do not know why you give me so much trouble. It's like I'm used to fighting small groups and for charities. Yes. It's been a lot.
There's a whole scene between him and Fazzini where it's like he tells you that the rules of war, never get into land war with China or Asia. And never deal with the Sicilian when death is on the line.
I know.
Never get.
And then he does the whole. He drinks it.
There's just so many good scenes in that movie. I swear, like every scene, there's at least one iconic line in every scene, and and then it's just I think my favorite scene, honestly, is the sword fighting scene between him and Mandy, because it's so good. Their dialogue back and forth, and just you could tell like they really wanted to make it a good scene with fighting.
When they found Inigo in the forest, and he went to nurse him back to health, and he talked about he took great care nursing his friend back to health, and he's between the food and the or when they're going to find the man in black, and he says, Fezzik, jog his memory.
Well, I think he took him too hard.
Or just the whole thing, where did you get a Holocaust code? Why didn't you list that among our acids?
You just wiggled your fingers. 30 men against us 3. And you think a little finger wiggle is going to make me happy?
Or even the whole scene where he's in bed and his spiel to the prince about how, don't you think?
Yeah.
Or the priest, marriage.
I told you should do that one of these times when you officiate a wedding.
So,
oh my God.
So yeah, I can officiate weddings. I'm an ordained minister in the Universal Church of Life.
Between that and Spaceballs,
I'm just waiting for somebody to want the marriage.
Marriage brings us together today.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the whole movie. I can't think of one thing that I can't stand to watch this part. No,
yeah, it's
begin
so good.
To end. Yeah,
so good. And the music, like the score, is really pretty. It's like got a really pretty score. Then there's the main song, the Storybook Love Song.
Yeah,
it's a really pretty song.
Yeah,
just very soft and just like
the screaming eels,
which wasn't in the book. In the book, when she jumps in, he warns her about the sharks, and then he throws. Like he put some of his blood in the water
to get them
to come after
to frenzy.
Her.
See, I didn't read the book.
I did. It was the short version. Different movie. Because the real version is just way too long. It's just so long. I did read and then there's a sequel, Buttercup's Daughter. It's about Buttercup's daughter.
Okay.
So Fezzik and Nino come back into it just to kind of check up and see how she's doing.
So what do you want to do next? Do you want to do 7 Degrees, or do you want to do food segment?
Let's do food segment because I'm hungry.
Woo-hoo!
We did a couple things for food segment.
So yeah, there are some food things in the movie.
Yeah.
One of them is Well, actually, both of our food segment parts are from Miracle Max's when they go to get the cure for their somewhat alive, nearly dead patient, the man in black. And they're talking about there's nothing better than
a mutton,
lettuce, and tomato, where the mutton is crisp and the
nice and lean,
and the tomatoes are so perky. So this is our version of the mutton, lettuce, and tomato. We have some nice crisp. You could hear that snap.
Turkey bacon,
and we have tomato on there
and lettuce. So
yeah, we use turkey bacon because you can get that nice and crisp. Just some mayo, some lettuce, some tomato, and some toasted bread. So
and my favorite scenes with him and Carol Kane. Oh my gosh.
Liar!
I'm not a witch of your wife. And after what you just said, I don't think I want to be that anymore.
So there's that. Oh, that's yours. Okay. Okay.
And then,
so at the end of their session with Miracle Max, he gives them a miracle pill that's supposed to help bring him back to life. And the chocolate coating makes it go down easier.
But
so no swimming, at least for
an hour.
an hour.
Oh.
Yeah. You think it'll work?
It's like a miracle.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
No. Anyway, so what we did here was we have strawberries and raspberries, and we soaked them in rum for a couple of hours.
I wanted vodka, but we got it on rum.
I'm more of a rum fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then we chocolate coated them. Yep.
Definitely a miracle pill.
Nice and boozy.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me back to life.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anybody wants recipes for anything, just, message us.
Them.
Yeah, we will. We'll post both of them, along with nice pictures and everything. Yep. And we'll probably post our favorite clips, too, afterwards.
The whole movie. Just put the whole movie online.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know if it's on Prime or any of that.
It was on Netflix for a while.
A while. We did that one earlier.
Yeah. I can't remember if it's on Prime. I know you can rent it on Prime. I can't remember if it's free though. And then, it's super cheap. You can get it on DVD for less than $10.
She's a super cheap. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So next
I get
up
distracted
is,
easily.
7 Degrees of Tom Hanks.
7 degrees of Tom Hanks. So, okay, for those of you who have watched us before, you know that we have a theory. All of our movies can be connected back to Tom Hanks in 7 degrees or less. So this time,
I challenged you.
Sarah sent me a challenge. She said, I dare you, or I challenge you to take it back to Tom Hanks, starting with Andre the Giant. And I said,
challenge accepted.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
that's
exactly what I said.
You did, yeah. Challenge accepted. I'm on it.
All right, so, and because I was so excited to do this, I've actually got two ways that we can take you back to Tom Hanks, starting with Andre the Giant. So, the first one is Andre the Giant had a bit part in Conan the Barbarian. We were talking a little bit about Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was Conan. Arnold was the Terminator, and that was directed by James Cameron. So we've got Andre, Arnold, James Cameron, and James Cameron, he directed Titanic and Avatar, and in Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio, he was the star. Leonardo and Tom Hanks were together in the movie Catch Me If You Can. So that's one way. Boo! I can do it even faster. I'm still using the Andre to Arnold Schwarzenegger connection. That's easy for you to say. See, that's what the miracle pills have done to me. So Andre and Arnold Schwarzenegger again, but this one is even one link less. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a graduate of U.S. Superior, or University of Wisconsin Superior, which, by the way, my brother-in-law also graduated from. But I don't think they were there at the same time, but I don't think they graduated at the same year. Anywho, one of the other notable members of the alumni of UW Superior is Dave DeFrancesco. He's the co-founder of Pixar. And Pixar, as you know,
it's Tom Hanks' land, practically.
Yeah, is the company that brought us, and their biggest selling, grossing movie was Toy Story. And we all know who...
Buzz Lightyear.
The cowboy character.
Woody.
Who is voiced by Tom Hanks. So that's even 1 or 2 degrees less than
Sean Wallace was in Toy Story.
Yes, Sean Wallace too. So there we go. Yeah, we could have gone directly there from Sean Wallace.
But we didn't.
But no, you challenged me to Andre the Giant.
I did. I challenged.
There. You got a 2 for this month on the 7 degrees of Tom Hanks.
7 degrees.
Woo! 7 degrees of Tom Hanks.
I'm Tom Hanks.
Hey. We got to get that clip back up.
I know. That's a funny clip.
I know. All right, so we've done the food, we've done the trivia. There really isn't a whole lot other than the music by Mark Knopfler. It's not like they have
They don't really have a
famous soundtrack with
just
contemporary. Did it ever win any like Oscars or anything like that?
I don't think so.
No. Quotes. We covered quotes.
Gosh.
Movie goofs. Anything?
Besides, I mean, so there was a part in the Fire Swamp where, even though the writer knew what was going to happen when Buttercup's dress caught on fire, he started screaming, "Her dress is on fire! Her dress!" I'm like, but you knew that was going to happen. So it was kind of like he was just so engrossed in the movie, he didn't really think about the fact that it was okay. And then there was a whole, Kira getting ahead with the sword.
Nominated for 1 Oscar.
Oh, it was. Okay.
But as far as what it won, we have Saturn Awards for Best Fantasy, Best Costume.
That's a pretty big award for
writing.
Sci-fi and fantasy movies. Getting the Saturn Awards, kind of like their Oscars. So.
American Comedy Award for Billy Crystal. Nominee for Carol Kane.
That's not surprising.
A Grammy nominee for Mark Knopfler for the soundtrack.
Oh, I lied. I guess they did get nominated.
They got a Hugo Award.
Aww.
Toronto International Film Festival for People's Choice.
Nice.
Writers Guild for William Goldman.
We don't even know how to say his name. Poor guy.
And Fred Savage. He got a Young Artist Award, and now he's doing Toyota voiceover commercials. Well, how about that?
How about that?
And he has a big mole. And Oscar Powers. You know what? The Wonder Years and the big mole. That's kind of what I...
Nice to meet you.
Meet you. Okay, goofs, yeah.
You're a goof.
When Buttercup is talking to the man in black on the hill, some modern houses are visible in the valley behind them.
Future.
On the castle wall, Inigo says, "I'll say," without moving his lips. He's done ventriloquism. Continuity. During the Battle of Wits, the blood on Buttercup's neck disappears and reappears between shots.
Oh my. You promised not to hurt.
Zini leaves his boat docked.
The Cliffs of Insanity?
Mm.
I wonder if he's using the same one we're using.
Right? All kinds of continuity errors.
Inconceivable.
Right?
I keep using that word.
Factual errors.
I don't think he is.
Prince Humperdinck tells Buttercup his entire armada will escort them on their honeymoon. She questions this.
Except for your 4 costumes.
And the captain of the guard excuses himself from the room, bowing and saying, "Your Majesty." Humperdinck is still only a prince at this time, and he should only be referred to as Your Highness.
That's foreshadowing, really, if you think about it.
Right? Maybe that was on purpose.
Because his dad dies in the... My father's final words were...
Buttercup is referred to on screen by name, but is only credited as the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
That's weird. Huh. Yeah.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think that's about all we got. Yeah. So, all right. What's next?
Well, that pretty much sums up our movie for this month. If you haven't seen it, please go see it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Watch it. Highly recommend it.
It's a movie for everybody, honestly.
Mhm.
I don't think people who have watched it, I don't think have anything bad to say about it, honestly.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, so next month I get to pick again.
Yeah, she gets to pick twice because I picked twice prior.
So it's going to be our 1 year anniversary. It's very interesting.
Yay!
We'll
have to have a special anniversary edition.
Maybe it'll be longer.
Maybe.
Or the short version.
Well, we're already at 30 minutes for this show. That's pretty good.
We could do Labyrinth over again.
No.
No.
There's too many great movies out there. I don't know. We don't need to repeat any.
Nah. So anyway, so next month, in honor actually of Mardi Gras,
okay,
instead of St. Patrick's Day, 'cause I'm not watching the Leprechaun. Sorry.
No.
Not it.
Darn it.
I decided to do Interview with the Vampire.
Yay!
So another one based off a book.
Anne Rice
Anne
for
Rice.
you.
It was Tom Cruise before he went and Brad Pitt before he went and a young
and they were still kind of hunky then. Both of them.
Oh yeah. And Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Was in it, which
he was never hunky.
I thought he was cute, but I liked him in Heathers. Which
I know.
Might be one of our ones too.
Oh yeah, we still have to get to Heathers,
which is
she keeps trying to get me to watch it, and it does. I don't know. Was I drinking?
Yes. Every time we try to watch it, we've been drinking, so it doesn't help. But yeah, there's an interesting fact about Christian Slater in this movie, which I'll talk about next month. But it's a good movie. I always liked that movie. I never read the book though.
I read all of the vampire books. I like Anne Rice, Anne Rampling, whoever she is. She's been through a bunch of different phases in her lifetime.
But the movie is set in New Orleans, mainly. I think they do move around though, at some point. But it is set. That's where all her books are actually set in New Orleans. So, yeah, we're excited on that. So stay tuned.
I'm excited.
Sometime in March. So keep an eye out for that. And which is funny that we're doing this because it's not really Halloween, but it's okay.
That's okay. It's New Orleans Mardi Gras. We'll have to have maybe like a Mardi Gras celebration. I have a bag of babies in a drawer in my kitchen, so we could have king cake with a baby.
Pushkis.
Yeah.
And then have some jambalaya.
Mr. Raymond, quiet.
Quiet back there. And maybe some jambalaya or some gumbo.
Ooh, I have a New Orleans, Louisiana cookbook that I picked up from the local thrift shop.
Oh yeah,
and I just drooled on myself.
Yeah. But yeah, stay tuned. And in the meantime, good luck storming the castle.
You think it'll work?
I don't think it'll take a miracle. Bye-bye! We don't end it and we don't start it.